It's the same as usual, working at your own pace, making sure that nothing is causing pain or discomfort, especially in joint pain. If you're sitting down, finding a position that allows you to sit with the space at the front, so allowing space into the abdomen to allow that nice relaxed belly breath. If you're lying down, finding a comfortable position, mostly for the hips and the legs, and making sure that the position of the leg is not affecting your lower back in a bad way, so it doesn't feel uncomfortable, it doesn't feel sore, it doesn't feel painful. And then once you feel that the body's settled, the same as usual, just noticing the breath, and noticing first thing where the breath is. So do I feel it in my chest? Or do I feel it in my neck? Or do I feel it in the belly? Can I try and drop it down into the belly? Can I try and get the belly to expand with inhalation and relax with the exhalation? Same as usual, I'm not forcing, so I'm not trying to push the belly out with the breath. I'm just letting the breath do the work. As I feel that the breath starts feeling a little bit calmer, the body feels a little bit more settled, a little bit more relaxed, then I'm going to start off with the neck. I'm going to turn the head to look over one shoulder, come back to the center, and then turn it to look the other way. And then same as usual, just noticing how different the movement might be one side compared to the other. So on the left side, I can feel that my chin stays up. On my right side, I can't help it, the chin seems to be dropping down slightly. So I'm not trying to change the movement, just to be aware. So why is my chin dropping? What is it that is pulling the head down? Is it stiffness into the neck? Which side of the neck? Is it the position of the head? Is it the position of the shoulders? And then as I feel the movement starts feeling a little bit easier, a little bit looser, I'm going to try and see if I can start adding a little bit more. So the next one, I'm going to turn to look over one shoulder, and then I'm going to allow the chin to drop down. So if I was trying to get the tip of the nose down to the shoulder, see if I can curl the head in, curl the head down, encouraging a gentle stretch down the opposite side of the neck. Holding it steady there. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and easing back. Turning the head to look over the other side, tapping the chin in, and then same as before, I want you to be curling the head into the shoulder. See if I can encourage a gentle traction down the side of the neck, holding it steady. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and easing back. Turning the head back to the middle, and then same as before, I'm just going to gently start turning it from side to side, noticing if the movement feels a little bit different, easier, better, worse. 4, 3, 2, and then on the next one, I'm going to turn the head to look over the shoulder. This time, instead of trying to tap the chin in, drop the nose to the shoulder, I'm going to try and lift the chin away as if I was trying to look behind that shoulder, somewhere around the back there. And then once I feel a little traction again coming to the side of the neck, I'm going to hold it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and easing back. Turning the head to look over the other side. And then I'm going to try and lift the chin as if I was trying to look behind that shoulder. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back. Turning the head back to the middle, giving the shoulders a little bit of a roll. There's a little bit more movement into the neck. I'm going to change the direction one last time. Going into a little skull rock. Tucking the chin in, I'm going to press the chin into the back of the throat to try to lengthen the back of the neck. Just to see if I can try and reach the back of the neck nice and long. And then I'm going to lift the chin up and away from the throat. I'm going to open up the front of the throat to the front of the neck. Then easing back, I'm going to tuck the chin in again, trying to press the back of the neck against the floor, against the mat. And then lifting the chin up, we're trying to look up, we're trying to look behind, and then coming back. And then same as before, play with the position of the mouth, I play with the mouth, I play with the tongue. If I push the tongue to the roof of the mouth, as I'm looking back, as I'm looking up, I can feel a little bit more traction down the throat, just a little bit more stretch down the front of the neck. So see if I can find something that is helping you to release that tension, making sure that it doesn't feel so tight, it doesn't feel as if it's pulling me down, dropping my head, closing my neck, closing my chest. 3, 2, last one. And releasing back, we're giving the shoulders a little bit of a roll, neck feels a little bit loose, and I'm going to try and see if I can focus on the other end, focusing on the lower back this time. So if you're lying down, I'm going to start off with a little pelvic tilt. So I'm going to tilt the pelvis back, pressing the lower back into the mat, and then rocking it back into neutral, tilting it back, going back into neutral. So see if I can create that gentle massage down the lower back and into the back of the hips. If I'm sitting up, exactly the same thing. See if I can create a very little movement at the base of the spine. So I'm just going to tuck the tailbone under, I'm going to roll back onto the tailbone and then trying to lift up onto the seat bones again. Tucking the tailbone, dropping, and then lifting up again. So again, see if I can ease off for some of the tension, some of the stiffness from the very bottom of the spine. The upper back is staying the same, so I'm not trying to arch over the upper back, I'm not trying to work through the thoracic, just a little easing off on the lumbar down at the bottom. And then if I feel that the movement starts feeling a little bit easier, a little bit looser, then I'm going to try and see if I can focus on one side. So imagine to be tilting the pelvis, but leading just with the right side of the belly. I'm going to tilt the pelvis, so trying to think of the right side of the belly, shortening and tightening. The left side, just hanging in there. Then easing back, and then trying again. Tilting, and then releasing the tilt. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then I'm going to try the same thing, but with the left side. So imagine just the left side of the belly, shortening and tightening to create that tilt. The right side is just hanging in there. It's just following through, just relaxing. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And easing back. And then going back to that normal tilt, so keeping the pelvis nice and centered, both sides working together. Think of all of the belly shortening and tightening, and then releasing back. So noticing if the movement feels a little bit easier now, maybe a little bit more even, now that I can feel the both sides of the belly seems to be pulling the same amount, both front of the hips seems to be working the same amount. 3, 2, 1, and releasing back, returning back into neutral, allowing the hips to reset, to adjust if you need to do so. And then this time, instead of working into front to back, so to flexion extension, I'm going to go into a little lateral flexion. So it doesn't matter if I'm sitting or lying down. What I want is to try and shorten the left side of the waist and then trying to reach the left hip up. So if I'm sitting up as if I was trying to lift the left bum cheek off the chair, then easing back, and then I'm going to try and hitch that right hip up. Easing back, hitching the right hip, hitching the left hip. So slightly different from the tilt before. This time I'm not trying to curl the pelvis up, I'm just trying to pull it to the side. So see if I can think of a nice lateral movement. The hips are staying flat against the floor. They're just sliding from side to side. I can feel the right side of the belly pulling up on the right hip. I can feel the left side of the belly pulling up on the left hip. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing back, resetting the hips back to the middle, centering the hips, relaxing the lower back. I'm going to try and focus a little bit more this time into the upper back. I'm going to start off with a little flexion to the side. So if you're lying down, using the left hand to support the head, the right arm to reach by the side. If I'm sitting up, I don't need to support the head as the head is on top of the shoulders. I'm going to start reaching with the right arm down the right side. So this time, instead of moving the hips, I'm trying to move the rib cage to the side. Then I'm going to ease back, I'm going to switch the hands, and then with the left hand, I'm going to reach down the left side. Coming back, right to the right, coming back, left to the left. So still focusing on that tension coming down the side of the belly. This time, instead of the tension that is trying to pull the hip up towards the rib cage, it's the tension that is pulling the rib cage down towards the hip. And then I'm going to lift it back, and then I'm going to reach down the other side, and then lifting up again. So if I was trying to pick up something from the very side of the chair, come back, and then see if I can pick up something from the other side. Making sure that this time the hips are staying still, so the seat bones are pressing down into the chair. They're not lifting off, they're not lifting away. And then also, if you're seated, see if you can try and encourage the chest to stay lifted. So making sure that I'm not reaching forward and side, I'm just reaching to the side. As if my shoulders and my head were against the wall behind me. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing back, releasing the shoulders, releasing the back with a little bit more movement. From lateral flexion, I'm going to go into rotation this time. So same as usual, raising the arms up to the front, hands together or hands apart. I'm going to start to swing the arms over to one side. I'm going to rotate that way. Then coming back, and then I'm going to rotate to the other side. If you're sitting up, see if you can try and sit up as straight as possible. Imagine to be holding, I don't know, a ball in your hands. I'm going to turn and then see if I can pass the ball to the person behind me. Then I'm going to turn the other way, pick up the ball, and then I'm going to pass it around again. And then pick up the next one, and then pass it around again. So see if I can try and use the space. As my back is not against the floor, I can rotate a little bit more. I'm not limited. If I'm lying down on the back, encouraging as much rotation, as much lift into the back of the shoulder as possible as I rotate to one side, and as much lift, as much rotation into the back of the shoulder as I lift the other way. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. On the next one, I want you to reach to the side. Hold. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Easing back. Switching to the other side. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and Releasing back, returning the body back to the center, adjusting the back if you need to do so. And then I'm going to start combining above and below. So see if I can start going back into that little lateral flexion. I'm going to start off with a little hip hitch. So I'm going to hitch the right hip up towards the right side of the rib cage. If I'm sitting the right sequence is trying to lift away from the ground, and then he's back, hitching the left hip towards the left side of the rib cage, right to the right, left to the left. So see if I can start getting that movement going again. Once that I feel that the movement feels a little bit easier, I feel that I've got some kind of rhythm going on through the hips, then I'm going to see if I can start coordinating the upper body. What I want is for the right side to pull down at the same time. So I'm going to hitch the right hip up towards the rib cage. With the left arm, I'm going to support the head if I'm lying down. And then with the right arm, I'm going to reach down the side. So I'm going to try and shorten the right side of the waist as much as I possibly can. And then hitching the left hip up, I'm going to try and shorten the left side. Hitching the right hip, shortening the right. Hitching the left hip, shortening the left side. So see if you can focus on the strong tension coming from the very side of the belly. So see if I can pull up on one side from the hip and then pull down with the arm. Come back, pull up with the hip, pull down with the arm. Come back, up with the hip, down with the arm. Back. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing back. We're straightening up the back, we're bringing yourself back to that neutral alignment, and then keeping the knees bent, shuffling knees and feet nice and close together, especially if you're lying down. And then I'm going to try and see if I can get into rotation. So this time, instead of shortening to the side, I'm going to try and raise the spine. So I'm trying to twist it around. I'm going to take a deep breath in. As I breathe out, I'm going to push the legs to the right, and then with the arms, I'm going to reach around to the left. Then easing back to the center, and then I'm going to take the legs to the left and then reach around to the right with the arms. Then back to the center, the arms go left, the legs go right, back to the center, the arms go right, the legs go left. If you sit it down, obviously the movement into the legs, into the hips will be limited as you're sitting on the hips. But what you can do to try and encourage a little bit more stretch down the side, as you turn to the right with the left hand, see if you can push the legs to the left. And then as you turn to the left, see with the right hand, you can push the legs to the right. So see if I can create just a little bit more stretch, or just a little bit more traction through that rotation, so that I can turn a little bit deeper, I can feel a little bit more movement, a little bit more stretch around the back. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back. We're releasing the shoulders, releasing the back. Again, body's a little bit warmer. I'm just going to try and see if I can focus a little bit more on the arms and the legs. So starting with the arms, starting with the wrist, I'm going to start to focusing on the wrist joint. So one hand at a time, or both hands together, I'm going to start to circling them around. So imagine to be drawing big circles, watching the hands as they turn, making sure that it's the hand that is turning into the forearm, not the forearm that is turning to. So see if I can think of the wrist moving, and then just exploring the movement. So instead of limiting myself to circles, can I go up and down? Can I go front to back? Which movement feels restricted? Which movement feels worse? So movement might feel that click slightly. easing off or slowing down the movement? Can I avoid the click? Can I make sure that there is no pain with the click? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back. Then I'm going to interlock the fingers. So I'm going to lock the hands together, and then I'm just going to start turning them round. So imagine to be holding a ball, and then I'm just going to try and spin the ball. So I'm just going to go round and round, see if I can really try to relax into the wrists as much as possible, both right and left side. See if you can reverse the movement going the other way. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back, releasing the wrist, releasing the hands. I'm going to stay with the hand, but each time I'm going to work through the wrist to see if I can try and open up through the forearm a little bit more, and then trying to release through the fingers too. So I'm going to press the palm of the hands together. Yeah. And then I'm just going to try and lift the elbows up as high as I can. So what I want is for the wrist to extend, as if I was trying to get the back of the hand onto my forearm. So I'm going to try and push the palms and then trying to lift the elbows until I can feel a nice stretch going through the forearm, or until I feel that the wrist doesn't go any further. Then I'm going to ease back, and then I'm going to try again, push the palms together, and then I'm going to try and lift the elbows up. And then I'm just going to ease back. So see if I can loosen up through the wrist, noticing the stretch going through the palm of the hands into the fingers too, especially if the fingers are quite tight. So my hands tend to kind of like curl slightly. And then as I feel the movement starts feeling a little bit easier, a little bit looser, then on the next one, I'm going to try and play with the fingers. So I'm going to raise the elbow, see if I can find the stretch through the wrist. And then I'm going to try and peel the palms apart, but trying to keep the fingers together. And then I'm going to release. Then again, I'm going to push and then trying to stretch through the fingers as much as I can. And then easing back. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and releasing back, releasing the fingers, releasing the hands. Is a little bit more movement through the wrist. I'm going to try and focus on the forearm this time. So I'm just going to bend the elbows, and then I'm going to tuck the elbows into the side of the rib cage. So it doesn't matter if I'm seated or lying down. And then from there, what I want is to turn the palms to face away from me, and then turn the palms to face towards me. Turn the palms to face one way, turn the palm to face the other. This time, see if you can be aware of the movement happening in the forearm. So I'm articulating the forearm bones, turning and then turning the other way, turning and turning the other way. See if I can notice the movement of those two bones twisting against each other to allow the palm to face away and allow the palm to face towards you again. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back. Releasing through the forearm. It's a little bit more movement with dorsiflexion. Internal external rotation through the forearm. I'm going to try and see if I can get a little bit more movement through the wrist, the elbow, and the shoulder. So I'm going to bring the hands towards the middle of the chest, a little bit lower, a little bit higher, doesn't matter, wherever it feels comfortable. And then imagine you've got a stone on your chest. I'm going to try and push the stone away, extend the arms in front of me, and then I'm going to ease the stone back gently onto the chest so it doesn't crash the chest. Then again, I'm going to push it away, and then I'm going to bring it back in. Push it away, and then bring it back in. So flexing, extending through the elbow joint, a little bit of movement through the wrist. 2, if you feel that the movement feels quite easy, quite comfortable, you want to make it a little bit more challenging, Then see if you can do the same, interlocking the fingers. So I'm going to lock the fingers together, turn the palms away from me, and then I'm going to push palms and arms away. Come back, push palms and arms away, and come back. So encouraging a little bit more stretch again through the fingers and into the palm of the hands at 2. 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing back, releasing through the shoulders, releasing through the arms, and then I'm going to start getting a little bit more movement into the shoulder joint. So I'm going to start off with a little circle. So I'm going to raise the right arm up to the front, and then I'm going to take it around the side into a little wave, come back. Then with the left, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to go for a little wave around and come back. And then progressively, I'm going to see if I can start making the circle a little bit bigger. So can I take the arm a little bit further back, a little bit further around the side? Just making sure that the movement is not causing pain in the shoulder or stiffness into the neck. So you don't feel yourself leaning to lift the arm higher. The shoulders should be level. The neck should be feeling nice and relaxed. The movement is just as big or small as it works for my right, as it works for my left shoulder. If I know that the right arm is good and the left arm is a bit dodgy, I'm going to keep the movement big on the right and then a little bit smaller on the left, or vice versa, big on the left and a little bit smaller on the right. We're still trying to encourage some movement. We're playing with the position of the arm. What happens if I turn the palm up, down a little bit more, in a little bit more? Does it make the movement better? Does it make the movement worse? Can I try and find that position that allows a nice smooth movement both ways? 3, 2, and then I want to reverse the movement. So I'm going to swing the arm round the side and then I'm going to bring it back. And then with the other, I'm going to do the same and then come back. So changing the direction, circling the arm the other way around, and noticing again, if you can, or if you have to change the size of the movement, I might have to make it smaller. I might actually find that I can make it bigger if I go this way. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing back, releasing the shoulders. There's a little bit more movement into the shoulder girdle, shoulder joint at 2. I'm going to try and work with the hips with the legs at this time. So if you're lying down, keeping the knees bent, the feet are down on the floor, I'm going to start off with a little, with a little knee drop. So I'm going to shuffle the knees nice and close together. See if I can get them to touch. And then I'm going to let the right leg go out to the right. Bring it back to the middle. The left leg out to the left. And then back to the middle. If I'm sitting on the chair, same as usual, as gravity is not working with you, you might have to use the hands to help pushing the leg slightly out to the side. And then I'm going to squeeze the leg back. So assisting with the hand if I need to help me take the leg out and then bring the leg back into the center. If you're lying down, making sure that it's the leg that is moving into the hip socket, not the hips that are moving. So the pelvis is not turning to the right, it's not rocking to the left. The hips are staying stable in the middle, it's just the leg that is moving. Noticing a gentle stretch, almost going through the inner thighs, the leg opens, and then the muscle tensing to pull the leg back. Gentle stretch the other way, and then tensing to come back. As the inner thigh starts fatiguing, especially if you're lying down on the back, the tendency is to start making the movement to shoulders. So instead of going back and squeezing the knees together, the movement just starts getting smaller and smaller on the way back. Every time that the leg comes back to the middle, see if you can aim for the legs to touch. So I'm going to squeeze them back together, and then I'm going to open it the other way. And then squeeze them back together, and then open the other way. And then also notice the different effort between the right and the left side. So I might find that one side feels different. On one leg, I can really feel the pull coming from the inner thigh. On the other side, it almost feels as if it's a push from the bum, or it almost feels as if it's like a pull coming from my arm, from the opposite arm, from the shoulder. Keeping the movement going, aware of what you're doing, see if you can bring the intention back into the inside of the leg. And then if you feel comfortable enough with the movement, you feel that you've got a good control over the right and over the left side, we're going to try and see if we can do both legs together. So I'm going to open up with both knees, and then I'm going to squeeze them back in. And then open out again, and then squeeze them back in. Using the hands to assist. Same as I did for the single leg if I need to. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Last one, I'm going to open out. I'm going to hold it out, encouraging gravity to stretch the inner thigh. So if I'm lying down, I'm just going to let the weight of the leg sink, hang. If I'm sitting up, I'm just going to start pushing with the hands on the inside of the legs. See if I can create a little bit more stretch through the inner thighs. See if I can get the knees to open up a little bit wider. If you're lying down and you feel that the back is still okay, the hip is still okay with the position, nothing seems to be pinching or catching, then I'm going to do the same. I'm going to put the hands on the inside of the legs, and then a gentle pressure, I'm going to try and push them down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Squeezing the legs all the way back in, relaxing through the legs, relaxing through the hips, having the knees to the chest if you need to, stretching the back of the hips, releasing the lower back and the back of the pelvis. And then I'm going to change the effort. From internal external rotation, I'm going to try and see if I can go into flexion, extension, or flexion, and backward from flexion, return from flexion. I'm going to start with the feet and the knees, with the knees bent to the feet on the floor. And then this time I'm going to start to go into a little knee lift. I'll be repeating on the same side. It's the same as usual. If you know that the leg is a little bit too heavy or too temperamental, I'm just going to swing the band of the strap around the back of the leg and use the hands on the back of the leg, and then I'm going to support the leg. So I'm going to lift up, and then I'm going to pop the foot back down. Then again, I'm going to lift and ease back. So see if you can picture the shape of your hip joint. So you've got the femur, you've got the leg bone that inserts into the back of the pelvis, into the side of the pelvis, into the hip socket. See if you can picture those two bones articulating together. So see if I can think of the hip closing to allow the leg to lift, the foot to peel away from the ground. And then same as you did for the opening and closing, notice where the effort is coming from. So I might find that, yes, I can definitely feel it's the front of the hip that is doing the work. I might find that the hip is very stiff, so I can feel quite a lot of tension coming from my belly and almost my back trying to curl away from the ground every time that the leg lifts. That's what I can do, that's what I'm going to be doing. But see if I can try and keep the intention in the hip joint. So see if I can really try to get the hip to articulate to create that lift, and then easing back. 2, Last one. And releasing down. Relaxing the hip and releasing the leg. I'm going to try exactly the same thing with the other side. So if you're using the strap or popping the strap behind the other leg so that you can support it, using the hands if that works better for you, so whichever it's easier. And then same as on the other side, you see if I can picture the shape of my hip joint. See if I can think of the femur, the top of the leg, moving into the hip socket. So the hip closing to allow that lift and then easing back. Closing to allow that lift and then easing back. And then same as I did on the other side. Just notice that the tension into the front of the hip, some tension into the front of the belly too. I might find that on this side that seems to be pulling really hard. It seems to be almost like using the back to curl the leg off the ground. That's what I can do. That's what I'm going to be doing. We'll see if I can try and keep the intention or keep the effort in the hip as much as I can. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing back, releasing the hip, releasing the leg, allowing the hip a little rest, and the arms a little rest if they were working to support to that leg. And then I'm going to work in reverse. So from hip flexion going into a little hip extension. So I'm going to start going into a little bridge. So pushing down through the soles of the feet. I'm going to squeeze through the back of the bum, the hips are forward. So if I'm on the chair, I'm going to try to sit up, or stand up, then ease back. So I'm going to push through the legs and squeeze with the bum. See if I can try and peel my seat bones wide. See if I can make my bum a little bit lighter on the chair. If I'm sitting, using the hands at the front of the thigh. If I've got something in front of me, the hands on the desk to help me lean onto something. If I'm lying down, I'm going to start with a little lift. So just squeezing with the bum and then releasing, and then progressively see if I can make the squeeze bigger. So if I can think of the front of the hip opening up a little bit more, the thigh reaching out of the hip socket, lengthening away, and then I'm just going to ease my way back. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing back and giving the legs a little walk, a little shake, making sure that the back of the leg doesn't feel too stiff, too tight. And then I want to work onto the leg one more time, but this time what I want to focus on is the thigh muscle. So it's the quads muscle at the front. So if you can hold that leg up, I'm going to lift the leg and hold it there. Especially if you're lying down, sitting becomes quite heavy. So if I can't hold the leg, I'm going to use the strap or the arms to keep it up. I want the leg to stay up for a little while. Then from there, what I want is for the thigh to keep still, my shin bone to lift up. So what I want is for my knee to straighten up as much as I can. Then I'm going to bend it. I might have a little rest and drop the leg. And then again, I'm going to lift to the thigh, suspend that leg, and then I'm going to try and extend. Then bend, and then I'm going to ease and drop. So if I'm seated, the leg feels heavier as it's sticking out to the front. So I'm going to hold it up I'm going to try and keep the shins forward as much as the leg will allow me, and then I'm just going to let everything drop. Then again, I'm going to lift enough for the foot to pull away from the ground, and then I'm going to extend as much as I can, and then drop. So what I want is for the knee joint to move. So it doesn't matter if it's a tiny little movement, we'll see if I can try and get it to move slightly. 2 more times. I'm going to lift, extend as much as I can, and then I'm just going to ease back. Last time. Lift, extend as much as I can, and release and down. Relaxing the hip, releasing the thigh. I'm going to try exactly the same thing, but working with the other leg. So switching the band behind the other leg if you need the support, and then exactly the same. I'm going to try and pull it slightly, and then see how far I can extend this side. Then I'm going to bend and drop if I need. And again, I'm going to lift it, extend as much as I can, and then bend and drop. 3, and back. 4, and back. 5, 6, 2 left. 7, 'Last one. 8, and releasing down, releasing the hips and releasing the thighs, giving a little rub, giving it a little slap. And then when I feel that the legs are a little bit loose or a little bit more relaxed, rolling over onto the side in your own time, pushing yourself up into sitting. Finding your comfortable seated position. So same as you did at the beginning, if you were sitting up, see if you can find that space at the front of the belly to allow a better breath. If I'm sitting on the floor using the arms to support me, if I feel that I'm a little bit too tight around the hips, I need to lean back slightly. And then from there, I'm going to take a deep breath in. I'm going to extend my way up. So I'm going to push the chest forward and then try to lift to the front of the ribcage. I'm going to look forward. I'm going to look up. I'm going to look back as much as I can. And then I'm going to release. So coming forward over the legs to see if I can try and flex it through the spine, flex it through the back, and dropping down towards the legs. Then coming up, extending through, pushing the chest forward, lifting the ribcage up, dropping the shoulders, lifting the chin, looking up, looking back as much as you can, and then releasing, coming forward, dropping forward towards the legs, as far as the back of the hips of the legs, the body will allow me, and then I'm curving back up. Last time. Extending up to see if you can make the front of the body as long as lifted as possible. And then releasing, coming forward, dropping down. One hand to the belly, one hand to the back. Take your bow. Give yourself a clap on that. Any question or anything as usual, please say. Remember, you need to unmute yourself.